Today's topic is about cron jobs and jobs. Okay. So job in the sense, if you want to run some particular task, okay, manually, okay, it has to trigger it and it has to do its particular task, whatever you have mentioned, and it should complete the job. That's it. Okay. It should not run all the time in the background in your cluster. It has to run the job at specific manually when I have triggered. It should run the particular job, whatever I have mentioned, and it should complete. Okay, so that is called as job. Generally we try to do some backups, restores, or any other some particular script which we want to run, some particular remote storage or something that we want to copy some particular things. Okay, all these things will be done through jobs and cron jobs. What is cron job then? Cron job is something if you want to run some repetitive task, means it should not run at when I have triggered, but it has to run some particular sequential order. Let's say every weekend I want to run this particular backup in order to store it somewhere. Okay, then when I weekend or I may not be available, or any other administrator will be available, right? But we have to run this particular task. Okay, so we cannot log in and do this particular task all the time, right? It has to run some particular periodical order. So then we will try to create this particular cron job where it will try to take some backups, and if you want also you can just restore if we don't do it. Actually only when there is some particular disaster recovery, then only we will try to do a restore in order to recover from particular disaster. Okay, but whereas a cron job, it is to run in a sequential order by scheduling some particular intervals. Let's say every Saturday at midnight or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock I need to run some particular backup. Okay, or I need to run some particular thing to copy somewhere. Okay, so all these things it is better to run in jobs and cron jobs. Ensure that don't try to expect this particular applications to be running in the background. Then it doesn't mean that it is a jobs, right? It will run like an application. So whenever the task has been completed inside this particular cron job and the jobs, the pod will go into a completed state. It will not be in running state. Okay, so that is what you have to remember. One more point. Okay, so let us try to understand one by one. These are the simple examples for cron jobs and all. Okay, so first of all, let us try to understand how to create a job, and then we will understand how to write a cron job. Okay, so if I go to this particular directory Kubernetes, then we have a topic called jobs and cron jobs. Okay, so if you look at this particular job right now, okay, so it is trying to print some particular, it is trying to run some particular Perl script. Okay, so it is trying to print the BPI of this 2000 value. Okay, so that is the intention actually. So now how it will run this, let us try to see. Okay, and you can see the restart policy is never. You should not always expect this particular restart policy should be set to on failure. On failure it's fine, but we should not set to always. That is one point you have to remember. Okay, so back off limit in the sense how many times it should retry. Okay, so till now we have seen it is retrying 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 or 8 times until that particular pod is up, right? Kubernetes will keep on trying to fix, means it will keep on trying to restart that particular pod. But here I am setting some limit to maximum. After that it has to fail if there is a genuine failure. Okay, some crash loopback of error or something like that. Okay, so that is what the parameter I have mentioned. And what is the API version? It is batch slash v1. Okay, so earlier we know about what is v1. We used app slash v1, so we have used those kind of API versions. Now when you're working with jobs and cron jobs, you have to use an API version called batch slash v1. Okay, for cron job as well as this. And what kind of object you are trying to create right now on Kubernetes? It is job. What is the name of this particular job? My-job. And this is the spec, and here we are writing the template. Under the template you will writing spec and the containers, which means that generally how you write your containers parameters, same thing you can write whatever the things you want to run, but always we have to remember the restart policy should be set to never, which means that this container is not expected to run all the time. Okay, that is one thing we have to remember. Now I will take a simple example right now to understand, to know about this particular functionality of this particular job. Then we will take a good example how to take a backup of your MySQL databases. Okay, so let me try to copy this one, this example, and let me go to my console. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, retry. I will reconnect once again to this particular controller. Just a second. Controller. Okay, so first let me verify the status of my nodes. It's running. So let me create something called jobs. Okay, so oops. Okay, simple example it is. We are just trying to run some particular shells Perl script, and it is trying to print the BPI of that particular 2000 value. Okay, once the task has been done, let us try to understand what will be the status of that particular pod. Okay, so kubectl create -f and the YAML file. So now you can see kubectl get job. Sorry, get job. Okay, so this job has been created, but you can see the completions are 0/1, which means that it is not yet completed. Okay, what does it mean? Let us try to understand. Okay, so this is the selector, means this is the controller UID, and this is the image which is used inside that particular job. What image it will use in order to create the container, the container's name. Okay, now let us try to look at the pod details. You can see now it is something like this: my hyphen job hyphen one hyphen some random number. You can see the status of this particular job has been completed. Now if you look at this particular job status, 1/1 in this is what are the job you have defined that has been completed successfully. Okay, so you can see that particular pod name which is created with the suffix prefix with the name of your job name. Okay, the name of the pod is nothing but the prefix of your job name. Okay, so with that we can understand like this. Okay, and moreover what it has done exactly. Okay, so I cannot log into this particular container right now. Why? Because it is in completed state, and you can see the status of this particular thing will be 0/1. Don't expect it should be ready like 1/1. Okay, in only when the container is running state you can see this particular ready status if this container is ready or not. Okay, here the job has been completed, so it will be 0/1. Okay, and you can see the IP address which is allocated for this particular pod. Okay, now if you try to look at the logs of this particular job, kubectl logs, that is the only way for us to look at the details. You can see it has printed the BPA value of this 2000. Okay, you can see 3.141592, some floating value. Okay, so this is how it is. So it has done its particular job. Okay, so if I want to re-trigger this, okay, so if I want to re-trigger this, okay, you have to create one more job. Okay, so we have to create one more job. Okay, if you try to look at this particular description of this particular job, kubectl describe job slash. Okay, you can see there name, namespace, selector, labels, and all this is fine. Annotation, parallelism, completions one. Okay, completion mode, no indexed, start time, and when it is completed. Duration, it took totally 35 seconds to complete this particular job. Okay, it is already succeeded with this particular pod status, and this is the pod template what we are using in order to create this particular job. Okay, and these are the event logs which you can see successfully created and completed. Okay, so these are the event logs which you can capture from this particular description. Okay, with event logs. Now if you want to see the output of this particular job in a YAML format with the parameters what you have, what it has enabled and all, then it is better to give kubectl get job and the job name. Okay, you can see there are so many parameters which are written. Okay, this is how it looks here YAML. Okay, so this is what it is. Now let's say the same thing, if you want to take a better example, let's say this is the one. Okay, so here what we are trying to do, it's simple. We are trying to communicate to our MySQL application, and we are trying to take a backup, and we are storing in the NFS server. Simple. Okay, I have set a restart policy saying that only on failure try to restart this particular container. Okay, if it is one of them, it is successful, obviously the container will go into a completed state. Okay, so this is the intention, or this is the purpose of this particular job. Okay, so what I need to do first of all, I need to create a MySQL application, right? I have to deploy it. So let me try to deploy once again this MySQL application, and then we will see.
Sudhir,
Yeah,
I have a question. In this example, the previous one.
yeah.
Yeah. So
You're talking about
where?
job? Okay, MySQL, right?
Yeah, job.
Okay.
Yeah, job. No, no,
You're
no, no.
talking
The
about this
previous
one.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, this one. So I'm not able to understand. Actually, if I replace this kind job with the pod, with the restart policy never, then what is the difference? What could be the difference? Because it
See,
will
when
execute
you are
once
deploying
and
some
then continue.
application, why you want to mention never? Is it should run all the time, or it should only to run the task and complete the pod? It should stop the pod. What is the purpose? Based on that, you have to understand the restart policy. Okay. Do you want to run the application all the time? Then you should not mention never. Okay,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
why I'm
not the
asking.
intention of running your actual applications. But here
Yeah,
the intention of the job is nothing but do the task whatever I have mentioned and complete the status. That's it. So
so
simple.
this is my question. If I put pod, kind
Huh?
pod, and restart policy is never, then it will behave the same.
No, it is a template. This template doesn't accept this, right? You have to modify these details and all.
Okay, so
Okay, and why you want
job.
to mention, that's a question what I asked
Mhm.
first one. If you are mentioning the pod, and why you want to set a restart policy never? What is the purpose?
It
There
will
is,
execute and then
if
die
you
because
want to
there is
run
no
some particular
process.
task, okay, then why you want to go with the job? You have to go with the job, right? There is no point of creating a pod actually and mentioning the restart policy as never.
Mhm. And we can define multiple containers here.
Yeah, yeah. Anything you see here, you can see this map concept where you can define multiple containers. It's up to you. Even you can specify init containers as well. Okay.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Here the concept is simple. Whatever the task I have specified, let's say the same example which I want to take with MySQL. If I want to take a backup, this backup should not run all the time, right? It should run only the job when it is triggered. Okay, manually when I have triggered it. So that's what I have mentioned. So that's the reason the restart policy is on failure. Only when there is a failure while creating this particular pod or running this particular container, then only try to do a restart. Okay, that is what we are trying to say with this particular policy. Okay, it should not be always. There is no point in making this job as always. Okay, so that is not the actual behavior of your job. Job is only to do the task and complete it. That's it. Come out of it. Okay, so if you want to run this, see, unnecessarily you're running the application which will consume the resources. Okay, that is the first drawback which we have. If you want to run this particular same thing, if you want to create a pod here, unnecessarily you are running this particular task in the background which is consuming the resource on the node. But here The intention of creating this particular task is nothing but only to take the backup, nothing else. After that, there is no use of this particular commands what I'm executing inside the container, right? So then I don't want this particular container to be running in the background. This container should be do the task whatever I have mentioned and come out of it. Exit code 0. Simple. Okay. So that's how this particular jobs are designed. Even the cron job is also the same, but the cron job will trigger at the point of time what I have specified. Okay. When it is scheduled actually. Okay. That is the only difference between cron job and the job. Now, before executing this particular job, actually first of all I need to have the MySQL application running in the background, right? So to deploy that particular MySQL application, I will take this example with cluster IP. I want a cluster IP to be created. Okay, so I'll be taking this example, same example, replica, it's only one, that's fine for me. Oh, okay, it is creating persistent volume claim as well. Okay, let me try to do like this, no problem. Okay, so MySQL application I'm trying to deploy. Okay, only slight modification which I want to do is nothing but I want to go on the top, and here I don't want to use headless service, I want to use cluster IP. Okay, so this password is password, no, I just want to mention it as just 1 2 3 or something, just 1 2 3 4, and here this is fine, this is fine, persistent volume claim is fine, PP is also fine, and this is also fine. Yeah. Yeah, so let's save this and come out. Let's deploy this particular MySQL application. Create -f MySQL, right? First of all, let's verify our MySQL application is running or not. First, I want to see my PVPVC. Oh, it is bounded successfully. Then I want to use kubectl get all -o void. Okay, and I want to see my MySQL is running. Okay, you can see there my MySQL application is running. I'll just show you the testing purpose. I'll just show you whether my password is actually accepted or not. Okay, so MySQL -h -u root -p, the password is test1234 and it is accepted. So which means that my authentication details are correct, whatever I have mentioned. Even I tested it right now. So the same thing should happen through a job or a cron job, and it has to take the backup. So does anyone know how to take a backup of MySQL databases? So simple. Okay, so the in order to take the backup of your MySQL application, it is the command is MySQL dump is the utility which we use in order to take the backup. Okay, so it is called as MySQL dump, the host which you want to communicate, username, password, -fn, all databases. If you want to take a specific database backup, then you have to mention that particular database name. Okay, but here my intention is to take the whole bunch of backups actually. Okay, and I want to store it in the NFS server. So let me try to see if my NFS server is running or not. Status, it's running, right? And which particular directory I have exported, let me see. Okay, so my directories are where NFS backups I have it, right? So let me try to utilize it, and this is the IP address of my control plane node where I can specify this IP address as my NFS server IP. Okay, so what I need to do, let's take this example. Now I'm trying to take a backup using jobs -backup. Okay, .yaml. So here what I changes I need to do here, where NFS backup. Okay, and here my NFS server is running on 10.128.0.2, right? And here the password is test1234, and I'm trying to communicate through service DNS name. You can see mysql.default, but let me verify my service name. What is that? Okay, so if there is some mistake again, it will, yeah, it is only MySQL, right? So what is your DNS name right now for this particular service? MySQL dot, in which namespace? Default dot svc dot cluster dot local. Actually, that whole bunch of fully qualified domain is not needed. You can even give MySQL, or you can even give MySQL dot the namespace name. Okay, here I gave something like MySQL dot the namespace name. Okay, this is the command, this is the password, and this is how it is. Okay, and whatever the backup has been stored in the container where temp directory, that directory is mounted to your NFS. Okay, that's the reason how your data backup will be available in the NFS server. Okay, so let me try to create this. So kubectl create hyphen f mysql hyphen backup. And what it is saying? Oh, okay. Let me modify the name. It's backup. Okay, so backup my SQL backup. Okay, so let's save this and come out, and let me try to create this. So it is created successfully. Let's verify. kubectl get jobs hyphen o1. So that is a MySQL backup. You can see it is successfully done. Okay, let's verify. So I have to verify in my NFS server. Let's say, for example, where NFS, this is my NFS server itself. You can see the backup. If you try to open this particular backup file, you can see it's, this is how the extension is really important, .sql. Okay, so then only it will store in a proper format. This is your backup. Actually, each and every database, inside the database, how many tables you have, everything will get stored in the backup. Okay, so tomorrow if you want to restore, this is the backup which you have to use in order to restore. Simple. For restore, actually you no need to use MySQL dump, it is MySQL, and here instead of greater than symbol, less than symbol. Okay, simple, so simple it is. Okay, no need to mention this all databases, just MySQL hyphen host hyphen u password less than symbol and the backup location. Okay, so this is how it is. Understood now? This is a pretty good example to talk about this jobs. Okay, so cron job, in the sense, it is so simple. You are trying to schedule it. Okay, so what is this cron job? How will you schedule it? In the sense, let's say I will first, let's say first we are saying that I want to run this particular job every day, some midnight, let's say some particular 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock every Saturday or Sunday. Okay, so if you don't know how to write a cron job and all, like what should be, we have to write this and all, if you're already familiar with Linux operating system and all, this will be handy for you, I guess, already. But with the people who are completely new to this particular topic, cron job is something where you're trying to run the job at specific point of time. Okay, you're trying to schedule it. Schedule in the sense, how will you schedule? Okay, how will you specify the time? Saying that I want to run this on this weekend or something like that. How will you tell that? So there are totally 5 columns here: minutes, hours, day of the month, and the day of the week. Minutes in the sense from 0 to 59. That's totally 60 minutes, right? If you start counting from 0, it is maximum 59. Hours in the sense, how many hours we have a daily? 24 hours. Okay, so 0 to 23. That's how we specify. In the third column, day of the month, in the sense, okay, day of the month, how many days we have maximum in a year? Which month is having maximum number of days? 31 days maximum, that, right? So 1 to 31. Okay, so 1 to 31 maximum. If it is February, if it is a leap year, it's like 29. If it is non-leap year, it is only 28. So automatically it will understand. Okay, no need to worry too much about that. Okay, month in the sense, which month? January, February, March, April. We represent January from 0 to 11, sorry, 1. January is 1, and 12 is nothing but December. Okay, or if you are not comfortable with what, you can write the starting 3 characters of the month: Jan, Feb, March, okay, June. That's how we can specify. Day of the week in the sense, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, which zero, it will start from 0 to 6. 7 days a week, but zero, if you start counting from zero, it is 6, 0 to 6. What is zero represents for? Zero is for Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is nothing but 6. Okay. Now, based on these particular values, let's say I want to run this particular cron job every Saturday. Okay. Every Saturday. Okay. Every week, every month, every year, every Saturday of the week, I want to run this particular job at 2:30. Okay. 2:30 p.m. Sorry, 2:30 a.m. It comes 2:30 a.m. right? Early morning in the sense. Okay. So midnight in the sense like 2:30 a.m. So now how will you specify that? 30 in the sense minutes, right? So 30. Hour in the sense when you want to run 2:30 a.m. 2 in the sense like if you start counting round the clock, it is 24 hours representation or 12 hours representation it is, because we cannot specify am pm in the cron job. Okay, so 0 to 23. So if you start counting, a day starts at 12 o'clock after midnight, 2 o'clock, right? So 1 2, so it is 2 o'clock one. Okay, if you want to run at afternoon, it will become 14, which you already know, right? So 2, and a day of the month in the sense, let's say on which day you want to run, there is no day at all. Okay, so then it is a star mark. Okay, month in the sense on which month you want to run, every month, so star. Okay, you can see now, and every day, every weekend, but we have told that we want to run only on Saturday, right? So Saturday represents as 6. You can see here at 2:30 on Saturday. Next it will run at 21 1 10 9 2:30. It will run at that time. Okay, so this is how it is. So this is an online URL where you can set this particular cron job. You can understand. So there are totally 5 columns here, and at this particular point of time, 2:30, your job will get triggered. Simple. So it will create a job, and the job will create a pod for you. That's how it is. That is a flow. The hierarchy of this particular cron job is this cron job will create a job, and the job will create a pod for you. Okay, so let us try to look at that particular example. So if you go back to this once again, okay, so where is it? Cron job, yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'll take some better example of MySQL. Okay, so this MySQL I want to run for every 5 minutes, actually star slash 5 in the sense, let's say if you want to run for every 5 minutes daily, every 5 minutes I want to run this, then what you can specify here, star slash 5 every 5 minutes in the sense this one, and here I want to run every hour, sorry, every hour, and every, it is not on Saturday or something. You can see every fifth minute this particular job will run. Okay, so this is what I have written in my example to see the better backup of this particular thing. That's the reason I gave like this. Okay, so that's how it is. Now this particular cron job will run. Okay, so what I have specified here, you can see kind is cron job, and what is the API version. Okay, I have not written that. So let me copy this. Okay, so this is how it is. Now this particular cron job was created, and it is intentionally created to run at particular every fifth minute. Okay, fifth minute continuously. So this particular backup, and here it is called a job template, and under that you will write spec and the template and the spec. This template spec till here, this is nothing but how you write in your job. Okay, how you write in your job, that is what we have written. Since you are trying to create through cron job, additional parameters are added, nothing but schedule and the job template. So which means that your job will be created with this particular template, and this particular job template will try to create a pod for you. Okay, so simple. That's how it is created. Now let me take this example and modify this. I'm directly taking this MySQL example. I don't want to show the basic one, which is not useful. Okay, so here I want to specify the IP address of my NFS server where it is running, but it is on the same control plane now. Here where NFS slash. Okay, so everything is same. The password is test1234, and here it is something, let's say, just a second guys, sorry, 1 minute, give me one, sorry, yeah. So I just want to, when it is getting stored, right, it will try to override it. Okay, instead of that, the backup should be stored as a timestamp. Let's say I want to store this particular thing as a timestamp. Then what I can give hyphen, let's say dollar date. Okay, so that the extension of this particular file will be, backup file will be added with the date timestamp, so that I can identify on which particular time this particular backup was created, right? So that is the intention why I did like this. So rest of the things are same. So let me save this, let me try to create. Okay, done. So kubectl get cron job. Okay, so this cron job, if you try to understand these columns, name of this particular cron job, when it is scheduled, suspended, is it suspended right now? No. Okay, that's the reason it is false. Active in the sense it is not active, and you can see large schedule, it is not a triggered. Okay, so now if you try to look at your jobs, you can see MySQL hyphen backup. Okay, it got created maybe earlier one which have created. Okay, so that's how it is. And if you try to look at your pods, okay, backup, no, not it created. Okay, so let's wait. So it is not last schedule, you can see 4 seconds ago. Okay, let's try to understand this. Now where is the job? You can see the job has been created. Okay, so how I was able to understand it has been created, you can see the prefix. Okay, it is the name of your cron job, and after that it is some random number. Okay, after that you can see your pod details. Okay, where is my pod? You can see now. So this is my pod which is created and it is completed right now. So let us see my backup right now. Okay, so my backup is stored in the NFS server, nothing but this particular path. You can see there timestamp. Actually, it is not a proper way, but yeah. Okay, so in this way, a timestamp has been added. So let us try to see all the backups. Okay, let it get added. It is better I do like this. Okay, here, instead of storing like this, right? The better way is I will do like this. Okay, so what I can do is, instead of create I can say like replace, force replace or something like that. Replace. Okay, okay, again it is got recreated. I just want to store in a proper way. If you look at this particular backups which are stored, right, it is not in a proper way. You can see there are some quotations added and all. I don't want like this. I want in a proper way with the proper timestamp. Just wait for 2 minutes, it will complete. Cron job is not yet scheduled. So we have to see something has been triggered last schedule maybe 1 minute ago or 3 seconds ago. We have to see it. Okay, So whenever you have some doubt, just go to the in writing this particular cron job, that columns and all, understanding it, go to the crontab guru dot that particular URL and try to give your what you know, just give it, so that it will tell you whether you have written properly or not. Okay. Good. Let's create GTL get cron job MySQL hyphen backup. So it got replaced. Nothing got replaced. Okay, fine. Oh, it is not a trigger. It is not even suspended. Let's wait. You can see now it got triggered. Okay, it took some time to trigger it actually. So now you can see the cron job, it has run 20 seconds ago. Okay, so now let us try to see the NFS directory location where our backups have been stored. Okay, it not printed with the timestamp, I guess, maybe my mistake. Okay, I'll just try to correct this and I will give you a proper example of this adding this timestamp. Okay, this is not the correct way. Okay, so you just need to add a timestamp. So for that you have to do some slight modifications in this. Let's say dot, then I need to add something dollar. Let me try to date and then plus percentage f underscore percentage r. Here I need to write some double quotes. It is better I write in double quotes so that it will understand. Okay, this is the mistake which we have done. Okay, so I stored it and I'll push it into the GitHub. Okay, so that you can see these particular changes. Okay, try to execute and this particular things will be stored in the form of backup in a proper timestamp. So based on the timestamp you can understand which is the latest backup. Okay, and if you from here if you want to store it in the remote location from anywhere, you can do it actually, but directly we are storing it in the remote backup, nothing but your NFS. Okay, so this is what we are doing in this cron job example. Even in the job also we have done the same thing. Okay, so similarly we can add so many things like this. Even we can take our etcd backup and all, and that you can add it as a cron job. Okay, so once you know about etcd, what is this component, how to take the backup, then manually, then you know you will come to know how to do it through jobs and cron jobs. Okay, so you'll get one question related to that, not in the jobs and cron jobs. I'm talking about etcd backup. Okay, restore they will not ask it, but they will ask you to do a backup of etcd. Okay, so for that you have to understand how to take a backup. First of all you have to understand what is etcd, where the data will get stored, how to take a backup and all. Okay, so that we'll discuss in the last, that is etcd, right? So we will discuss at the last. So with this we have completed our jobs and cron jobs. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be talking about authentication and authorization, which is important. Okay, how you are authenticating to your Kubernetes cluster. Tomorrow I have so many developers and so many operations engineers and all. So for them, I cannot do what I am doing, right? They cannot log into the server and they do whatever they want. I have to restrict them. So how I can restrict, and how I can say that he can do only certain tasks. So how I can restrict them. Okay. So all these things will be done through authentication and authorization, which we will cover the RBAC policy, rollback access control. Okay, so with that, how will you apply a policy to a user? Okay, whatever it is.